This is part of the superintendent's priorities and making sure that we are ready on day one. The cadets need to be in an environment where they're stressed, but also realize, like, I can do this, and not only can I do this, but this is fun. The spring culminating exercise was an application of the Ready Airman skills training in a simulated environment, and it gave the opportunity to our cadets to demonstrate all of their Ready Airman skills training throughout a 4-day event, which comprised of 1 field training exercise and 3 focus lane training events. Those 3 focus lane training events being strike, lead and adapt, and protect.
Me and my team, we were focused on planning that lane training portion, and that involved ethical battle scenarios in our lead and adapt. It involved protect, which was defending an AOR, or an area of responsibility. And then we had the strike portion, which was a navigation evasion exercise. A lot of us were working with permanent party and cadets, both sides, kind of communicating what we were trying to accomplish. The 3 lane trainings that we were in charge of, the 3 focus lane trainings, we built from the ground up. So we kind of were given broad intent from permanent party of this is what we want them to kind of look like. And then it was kind of up to my team and just giving them the tools and empowering them to get those done.
So lead and adapt was all these ethical battle drills. 8 out of the 10 were law of war scenarios. And then we also had cross-cultural communications woven in there and a key leader engagement. And so throughout these ethical battle drills, cadets were given these scenario cards. And our main purpose for these was just to get cadets involved in law of war so that they would know if they ever encountered a scenario like those, they would know what to do.
I was in charge of the protect lane, which primarily focused on active threat responses, integrated defense, basic communications, and TCCC. So being able to build scenarios to where we can test about 4,000 cadets on those skills and make sure that that's getting accomplished.
So I was kind of like a jack of all trades, if you will. I kind of helped out with lead and adapt a little bit, but also was in charge of helping run the religious accommodations, just because the CULEX did happen to be during Ramadan, so we did have accommodations for cadets who were observing that. Being a NCOIC, a non-commissioned officer in charge, we were kind of following around Amelia and Caleb, so just trying to pick up on the leadership skills that they're dropping for us, as they're actively leading their different areas.
In those FOSs, the forward operating stations, the cadets had different roles. And it didn't delineate if you were a 4th degree or if you were a firstie. You had a role, and everybody saw your role as something that was valuable to the team. I think that was definitely an example of the 4-class system, ensuring that all classes of our cadets are not only seen as leaders, followers, good teammates, and they communicate with one another. I will say though that the firsties that experienced the spring CULEX, they were very pleased. They enjoyed it. They enjoyed the camaraderie and the teamwork.
It's cool to see the shift from when I was a freshman to kind of where I am now, of how we shifted from training the freshmen to more of a 4-class system that's focused on Ready Airman Training, which is applicable to the broad Air Force.
Being in a position where you're not actually actively doing the CULEX, but overseeing it was definitely something different, but I think it gives you a different perspective on leadership with that. You're struggling with okay, I have to make sure these people understand why they're doing it and how to do it correctly, and I want to make sure they get what I want them to get out of what we plan.
Definitely how to think on my feet and to be better organized, because this was an event for 4,000 people, so I had to make sure that it ran smoothly and that I was organized beforehand in order to actually execute it well, because things would go wrong in the blink of an eye, and it was up to me to figure it out and fix what was happening there.
I mean, we can put it on paper all that we want, but until we actually do those skills in real life, in real time, that's kind of where you can see if the intent is being met. And so for the most part, after we got through that first day, it was a little rough, but once we got through that first day, the ball was rolling and we were cooking.
It was real. Experience was real. We had weather, which is going to happen when you're in the field. So we were all getting wet. Cadets were wet, cold, but it's part of the environment when you're deployed or in a situation where you're out in the field. I think it puts them in a mindset that, especially our firsties, I am X amount of days from becoming a second lieutenant, and probably months away if something happens from being on the front line. And so I think it's a great test for them mentally, and it also puts them in a great mental state to say, I'm ready.